Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's devotional. I have just a short thought for you today. We recently at our congregation, one of our sisters, older individual, passed away, and we just had her funeral today. And then this last week, one of our families, they lost a family member who lives in Dallas, and it just got me to thinking about the holidays. It got me thinking about how right about now people are have made plans and have things scheduled to go and see family members and to travel long distances. I know we are. And it just reminds me of what James says in James chapter 4, verses 13 through 15. James says, "Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city, spend a year there, buy and sell, and make a profit." Verse 14, "Whereas you don't know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away." Now, James is not condemning making plans. He's not condemning saying, hey, you know what, why don't we plan to go and do this? We'll go here for a week for holiday or for vacation, or we're going to go to this city for a year and we'll do business there. He's not condemning making plans. Here's what he condemns. He says in verse 15, "Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that." The point that he's pointing out here, verse 13, is that there's no consideration of God's will. There's no consideration of if God allows us to do this, we will live. You don't know if you're going to be alive tomorrow. That's what his point is. What is your life? It's a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. You don't know that that's actually, you're going to be alive tomorrow in order to go to that city for a year and do business there. You don't know that you're going to be alive at the end of the week to go traveling to wherever it is that you're going to be going to or planning to go to. And when we have individuals that pass away and we're in the presence of family members who are mourning their passing, it just kind of, it's what Solomon says in Ecclesiastes chapter 7 regarding the fact that it's better to go to the house of mourning than the house of feasting. He says, the day of death is better, verse 1, than the day of one's birth. It's better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will take it to heart. And like I said, that's why, I was thinking about holidays and the plans that we make, that we always remember that, sometimes we just say in passing, Lord willing. Sometimes I've tried to get in the habit of saying, Lord allowing. And it's not just something to say. When we say it, we need to really mean it. If the Lord wills, I will be alive in order to drive my family in a week to go to families, to see family for the holidays. Lord allowing, we will have a safe trip there. Lord allowing, we'll spend a week there and we'll spend time with family. And it just is a reminder for us not to take for granted, especially when you have holidays coming up, especially when you're making plans. And a lot of us are looking forward to family coming in for the holidays, maybe family we haven't seen in 6 months or a year. And we're looking forward to that. And so we get all hyped up in that. And sometimes when we're excited, we forget that all of this is dependent upon God's will, for one thing, that I'm alive, much less that things will work out in such a way that we'll be able to do what we're planning to do. And it's just, again, a reminder that not only is life unpredictable, but that in the end, God is in control. And it may be allowed within the will of God that our trip takes place and that it's a safe one and that everyone has a good holiday and comes back and we're ready for the new year and everything's great and good. Or it could be that it's in God's will that I not see the new year. I don't know. And that's why we have to take each day as being a gift from God. That when we wake up each day, that when we pray to God in the day, thank you for my life today. Thank you for the opportunity to make sure I'm doing what's right, to be a good example to others, to not take for granted just maybe blessings that can easily be forgotten or taken for granted. It's times like this when you've gotten back from a funeral, times like when you think about James chapter 4, that you remember that these individuals, in fact, he even says, you boast in your arrogance, all such boasting is evil. It's not that they just didn't say, if the Lord wills. It's that they weren't even giving God a consideration in their plans and intentions. And that's why everything that the Christian does has to revolve around the understanding of God's will, and that we appreciate that God, maybe he allows things, and there's sometimes he may not allow things. And he has his reasons when he does that. And we have to trust that those reasons, while we may never know them, he has his reasons. He sees the big picture, and there are reasons why things happen the way they do in the time that they do. And we just need to make sure we don't take that for granted. All right, that's the devotional for you today. Lord willing, as I mentioned on Thursday, we didn't have a devotional Friday, but tomorrow will be our last devotional until after the new year. I'll make sure to let everybody know when we're starting back up in January. But like I said, I'm going to be out of town, and so we're not going to have any devotionals for about 2 weeks there at least. So tomorrow will be our last one until at least sometime in January, and I'll make sure to let you know when. All right, everybody. Thanks so much, and hope to see you tomorrow.